enforcement to apply common sense and judgment to whether you think it's okay or not? Is that what you're saying?
For farm practice, not for residential practice.
It's
No.
I'm only talking about if they're in this ag district that's been created.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Peter.
so I mean, our laws aren't automatically superseded by the fact that there's an ag district.
Correct.
There's a procedure. If anybody thinks that it's unduly restricted, they can go back to ag and markets.
Correct.
And they can have ag and markets determine to hold it up. So you can apply the code in the ordinary course, and the town may over time decide to develop some rules that relax things in certain areas. But in general, there is nothing that automatically supersedes the whole body of rule and regulation that exists as it stands right now.
Correct.
So that default is the existing default unless and until something else is determined. What the supervisor said about standards is absolutely correct. At the end of the day, maybe there are standards developed through the town's agricultural district committee, which I understand is being formed.
Yes,
Is that ready?
it's formed but not populated yet.
Okay. So, I mean, they may come up with standards that help provide some more guidance, but, you know, unless until that happens, or you get a determination from ag and markets where somebody's made an appeal under that procedure, the ordinary rules are applicable.
So, with the majority of you sitting here, it's enforce the zoning code as it written. If they are in an ag district, we're applying common sense on whether we pursue them or not. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think you look at it with, remember this as well, in those ag districts, a lot of discretion is given to the homeowners, a lot to the property owners, a lot. And we would have to justify our case, and it's before Albany, and it's unlikely we'll win unless we have a very strong case. So unless there's a strong compelling interest to take action against one of these homeowners, I would not do it.
So, what you're telling me is if they're in an ag district,
There's more discretion given to ag districts than the regular properties.
don't enforce them.
No, I say, look, there's more discretion because they have more wide range of use that they can use that property
Okay,
for.
we never got an answer back on the slaughterhouse question. Are you allowed to process animals on a
Is
slaughter?
anyone slaughtering animals
We've
right
had
now?
an inquiry, yes.
I think until
They're
we
not
have,
slaughtering now, but there was an inquiry.
We've had an
I
inquiry.
had given it to
Dan
Dan
Spitzer.
Spitzer.
No,
Is
I mean,
it a
it's-
commercial activity? Is it a?
So what we can't regulate is the activity of farming itself, and anything that in the words of the ag and markets folks, unnecessarily restricts farming activity is activity that we'd be unable to engage in.
But isn't slaughterhouse different?
It could be an ag use, it might be, it might not, I mean,
Well,
I'd say, the simple answer to
Can
all
we
this
get
stuff is
some sort of definition to
we
that?
shouldn't be trying to figure out, what's reasonable and then just say, let's not enforce this law, let's not enforce that law, unless you adopt some set of agricultural regulations that gives definitive guidance. Unless and until that happens, unless until that happens, take a common sense approach to it, but apply the existing laws, rules, and regulations. We don't offer advisory opinions to anybody about whether or not a use is
Well,
permitted.
that's my problem. Our code, I'll go back to 10 animals. Our code restricts any property, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 150 acres, 10 animals.
So this is the answer. It is, the code says what it says.
Yes.
Of course, the town's not going to unduly restrict farming activity. This is what our code is, to the extent you think that the town, that it would unreasonably interfere with your ability to farm on your property in this ag district, go to ag and markets and go through the process. Send it back to ag and markets makes the decision as to whether or not it's something that we can enforce our regulation as applied to that particular property or not.
Well, the
It could apply to anything,
process
setbacks
that I
to-
read was that the aggrieved party, AKA the farmer, is the one that goes to ag and markets.
That's right.
Not the community. So,
Oh, that's absolutely right.
okay,
So
so,
you tell the farmer to follow with, here's what our rule is, and this is the position, this is the town of Grand Island's local law.
okay,
To the extent you wish to have relief from that, there's a process, follow the process. The town, if it disagrees with the determination of ag and markets, has an appellate remedy through the ag and markets procedures. but-
yes, I read that.
Yeah.
So so that directive's different than the one I just got from the
I
supervisor.
think it's not, it's a common sense approach to it, but still the law is the law, the law applies.
Okay, so if the law applies, we enforce the law tomorrow.
no,
We don't.
again, there's
See
more.
why I'm confused here.
No,
'cause
the town code applies, however,
The
it's,
code says you can't have more than 10 animals.
it's done through the spectrum of agricultural use, which is maybe more broadly interpreted when it applies to that property. Is that wrong, Peter? That's my interpretation.
That's fair. I mean, it's still the law applies the way that it's written.
Does it
today.
make sense for a farm? That's the question. And is it a public number one, back to what we said before to you, Doug, is there a complaint? Is there urgent complaint?
We
Is
are
there a compelling?
not, since the ag district was adopted, we are not currently enforcing anything to do with animals.
And has there been
In the
complaints
ag
about it?
district, in the ag district.
In any of them, because we weren't sure. There was a chicken law that was on the books or in process
Yeah.
that I think went away. There was rumors of agricultural animals being tweaked, AKA do something with smaller animals besides just chickens, and I don't know where that is. And we have not requested people, the clerk's office has not sent out renewals for special uses that were being processed, even for people outside of the district, because we didn't know, and we still don't know, and I still don't know right now what you want me to do tomorrow.
Well, what I want you to do is, again, look at it on a case-by-case basis, see if it's appropriate for what the activity in the district is. My understanding of the agriculture law is that town code is trumped if the town code is unreasonably restrictive to the actions of agriculture on the property.
Right, usually
How
that
do we
determination is
determine-
made by ag and markets. So
Only,
we-
only in those districts.
Right, so first, anything that's outside of an ag district, our rules apply, there's nothing about the adopted ag district that's even relevant to that.
Okay, so tomorrow, if we see chickens running around somewhere that doesn't have any kind of permit, and they're not in the egg district, cite them.
Well, you-
No.
if
We
you-
don't.
if you-
Ray's,
if you-
we
Ray's
don't.
working on that chicken law,
Is it-
and I think he's got it right.
Doug, while we're in this interim phase, trying to get a town code, redraft it to make sense, and there's no complaints on the books, there's no outrage regarding the use of these animals, there's actually people liking it, there's no compelling interest to crack down on it. So wait,
I like farming. Let's start. I'm not anti-farming. I'm not anti-chicken. My problem is I'm obligated to enforce the town code as it's written, not when it's going to be in 6 months, and we're
so
not
the
doing
town
it right
code will
now.
get, because we've had a huge change, let me explain, because we've had a huge change in the last year, there's a huge difference the way that things were before, the town code has to catch up, and that town code will be trumped when the ag districts are, the standards of the ag districts are applied to it. So while we're through this adjustment stage, it makes sense for you to use your discretion and give people a little bit of leeway when there's no complaints and there's no outrage regarding the practices until we get things all in order. So if you're looking for a green light to go and crack down on people, it's not going to happen. Please use your reserve, your discretion to hold back until we have the town code updated to match the agricultural districts, the presence of the agricultural districts. That's my advice. Does the town board have any other advice on that?
I agree with that.
No, I agree.
Thank you. Next issue. Can I just move over because we don't have a lot of time? I want to make a motion to renew the town's comprehensive general liability, auto liability, and property insurance coverage. Because if I don't do so, it'll lapse.
Do we wanna do that upstairs? I'm just wondering out loud. I think we said wherever possible we should vote upstairs. Let's just move that upstairs. I think it'll be unanimous. There's no risk. We'll just do
Well,
it
I
upstairs.
think you have to suspend the rules and.
I'd have to suspend the rules to put it on the agenda. It's on this agenda, and there's no compelling
Pam
reason.
needs it, right away.
I needed it.
It's just a
But
formality.
she's not waiting for it now, so if we just vote on it upstairs, it's not a big deal, right?
I'll
on the
know.
agenda.
I'll know.
Well, you have to
It's
suspend
not
the
on the
rules.
I'll know Councilman Madigan's his protest to voting in the workshop on this matter. But I think it's a business matter, and I want to move to vote on it. Can I get? I'll entertain a
I
motion.
think it's a big passionate issue, so.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I wanna do two motions
Go
too
ahead.
before we move on. I'd like to make a motion, to appoint, to fill 2 vacancies on the, Cable and Communication Advisory Board. And the 2 people that I would like to actually put in the seats would be Brian Chapin and Ron Stipp. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that would be for the, in the order of the terms that are ending. The 2 terms are different.
Do you have that?
What, Ron
2022.
Stipp would be 2016, the end of this year, and Brian Chapin
Would
would be
2022.
2022.
You just wanna confirm the vote on that again?
So let's
Yes.
make the motion again. So
Okay, so I wanna confirm, Brian, I'll do them separately, Brian Chapin, to appoint him to the Cable and Communication Board for the term going to 2022. my motion.
So moved.
So I second. Thank you.
All those in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, and then my second one is gonna be, to appoint Ron Stipp to a term that will end at the end of this 2016, to the Cable Advisory Board.
Second. Sorry, still on the job today.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And my third motion is to create 2 alternative seats for the Cable and Communication Board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I would like to appoint James Watt and Dan Schreimer to those 2 alternative seats.
I'll
Hold on.
second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Karen, you okay?
One more thing I wanna address there is how long, do we reappoint alternate seats each year,
Each year.
right? Okay. To be appointed each year.
You should mention what you said about the qualifications to allow 6 people.
Yeah, this was, we interviewed 6 people for these 2 openings, and that's why we decided to create 2 alternative seats to hang on to them. I don't know if we've ever interviewed 6 so super qualified people for a, basically a technology board. At one point, they thought we were gonna pay them. You know, that wasn't a volunteer board. I mean, they were that good. So, we made room for alternates so that they could still participate, although they won't have a vote being an alternate. But certainly, the other 2 were just as qualified. It was just wonderful and difficult at the same time. So, I'm really thrilled with what we're gonna be having coming as at that Cable and Communication Board. So thank you. That's it.
Okay. Mike, you wanna talk about West River Parkway?
Just that later we'll be talking about, a proposal to have a hearing upstairs, or, more of a open public meeting on that. That's all I really had. It really belonged upstairs. That was a carryover from 2 weeks ago when we canceled the meeting.
Revised tourist home law, I will pause that as well, because we're gonna have some comments about that. We talked about it earlier today in an executive session, and we have to understand there's been a lot of correspondence back and forth over the last several days. So I'll address that at the beginning of the meeting upstairs. Liaison adjustment, I need to hear back from our attorney regarding that, correct? Peter, you understand the issue, right? Okay, and I'll talk to you more about it. So I'll skip that as well. Ag district dispute resolution is done. Agenda review for tonight.
Yeah, there was something
Yeah.
on the community development block
Jim,
grant,
do you have your agenda for tonight?
2017, said public hearing, what was that for?
One moment, please.
Which one did you ask about, Chris?
Community block grant, 2017, said public hearing.
It's for a federal grant. Do you wanna explain it?
Yeah, the county is entertaining, this is when you hold a public hearing on projects that would fit into the aging in the lower income areas of Grand Island. Such to be done in the past is a ban for the senior citizen center, sidewalks in the lower districts on the outreach. So the grants are coming available for you to just explore what we want to do going forward. It needs to be into the hopper by the end of October.
But what would the actual hearing be on? I mean,
The
what are
hearing
the
is for the
projects?
public to come forward with any project they feel should be done within the
So
town
we
of
don't
Grand
have
Island.
any pre-planned?
There are 2 that are actually sitting and are being discussed right now. One was with the senior citizen center with the
The doorway.
senior citizen van.
Yeah, the doorways as well.
And the second one is for an elevator for the town hall.
So
for
the
handicap access.
block grants have to be regarding the aging, right? It's the elderly.
The elderly,
Yeah. So we're trying to, I guess what you're
Or
saying is we're trying to solicit
So-
ideas.
Elevator, sorry, the other one was a van?
a van for the senior citizens,
Okay, so a new.
a new
updated.
van, yes.
And in the case of grants, we don't have to pay that money back, that's really granted, it's ours.
It's not contingent.
Right.
Okay, anything else about the agenda you have questions about?
What is this about? I realize it sounds like there's no budgetary impact. Assistant for the supervisor accounting, what is that?
No, there is budgetary impact. That is,
It says there's no change to the grade.
well,
or
it's,
step.
currently the person is employed by the town. And I am going to use my appointment to continue their employment with the town. So they're currently employed by the town, and to continue to keep their services for the town, I'm allowed to use this appointment by law, so I'm going to use this appointment to keep them so they can continue to work for the town.
Otherwise we'd lose Gina then?
Yes, because her contract period is over, so I
Is it-
want,
And it's already budgeted for though?
it's
isn't
already
that?
budgeted for.
For, through the end of this year anyway.
Well, the assumption that was she would continue to be employed under her previous status, so it was a way of holding on to her by using this appointment without actually having to create a whole new position.
And it's no pay increase or?
Nothing. It's us holding on to her, so she'll technically be part of my office, but will continue to do generally most of the same duties. I may have her do some other grant work with us and to kind of follow up on those matters, but it's a way for us to retain a good employee. And her department head came to me and asked me if I would do this, and I said I would do it.
So that would shift the payment then from the accounting into the supervisor's budget?
It would, but it wouldn't affect the whole town, the town hall's overall budget.
This is until she takes the next test.
Yes, right.
And is there a need to make that vote tonight?
Yes, because we're gonna lose her. So it's something I wanna do to keep her employed now.
And this appointment lasts until the end of the year and then reappointment next year, is that correct?
Correct.
But then it's at your, or is it the supervisor or does the whole board
This
do
is
the
until she
appointment?
takes the test.
The supervisor makes, yes, yeah, we're waiting for her to take her test again.
When it comes
So the
up,
supervisor has the right to make the appointment, now you guys can change her salary if you want, but I hope you don't, because why would you punish her? So let's
Right.
wait till her test is taken and then we're good. So it's a way for me to retain her until we can get her to take a test,
What if she doesn't score?
then she's done. So it's a way for her to get an opportunity to prepare for that test. And Pam says she's gonna work with her such that she passes the test. And just so everyone knows, I don't even know her. I mean, all I know is that her boss told me she's a really good employee. This is not a favoritism thing. I just want to make sure that we hold on to good employees, and Pam says she's a great employee.
And how long has she been in that position, do you know?
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, sorry, it was there, okay, got it.
Good catch.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. So I have suggested to the town board that we do a structural adjustment at town hall, a structural reorganization, which will take some work to have it done. I think that there's some disconnect between the engineering and code enforcement. And to do this structural readjustment will take we have to look at who has what position and why they have that position. And it will take some time to figure out how it works from a managerial perspective. But I think in principle, it's an easy change. The change would be to have the town engineer to oversee all of this section of the building. In other words, water, engineering, code, building, and to separate building and code underneath it, and they report up to the town engineer. So I've been discussing with the town board for several months. In various different times we have different discussions. I wanted to discuss it with Ray today, but he's not here yet. But I'm eager to take a vote on it so we can test the waters to see if it's something we want to do going forward.
We would take that vote upstairs though, right?
I can suspend the rules or take the vote upstairs, yeah. So we can do that.
So the advantages of this is, I'm not quite understanding what the advantage or what's driving the need for this.
There's been several occasions where I've seen engineering and code enforcement not be on the same page, and building. And so instead of having me personally have to work it out and figure out who's what, and some of those occasions have come to the town board now, where there's been disputes about, well, they said this, they said that. I want one party to be over it. A lot of towns have done this, where they've had one master of public works type person that kind of resolves those
That would be
problems.
John Whitney.
Right, and he was willing to do it.
And is that a increase in
No,
pay?
no
'Cause
increase in
It's
pay.
an increase in responsibility, right?
It's an increase in responsibility, that's why we have to work it out and make sure there's no claims whatsoever. I hope there's not, because I think this will be a more efficient process at town hall, and will save us a lot of, it'll put another level of review before things get to the town board. That's the reason, and I think I think it will create some efficiencies here too. And I think, right now, we have the guys doing multiple jobs as well, so splitting code and building, we'll have a team dedicated only to building permits and review of documents. And then a team that works on code enforcement issues. So I'll make the motion upstairs and we'll see where we stand. If people feel they need more information, we can talk about it more, but I wanna get the ball rolling. That is it. Anything else you guys have to talk about?
Yeah, that one, I need more information, I think, personally.
Alright, we'll talk. So I will entertain a motion to end the meeting tonight at 7:40
So moved.
or 7:38.
So moved.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.